Okay, greetings. Today's the 11th of August, 2024. I'm getting ready to do something, and I can feel my level of excitement come up, so I thought, well, I'll share it with my peeps. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I got going on here. Let me turn this thing around. Not wanting to turn around. What are we doing here? It's been a long time since I made a video, I guess, and I forget how to turn it around. You know what? It doesn't have turnaround on here. Oh yeah, it does. Moved it. Okay, so this is my grow field, and this is a field that I planted with rape, kale, and forage radishes or daikon radishes. Okay, so to give you an idea of how high it is, well, let me just tell you. Those flowers right there are up at 6 feet. They're 6 feet high. So this field, you can tell, is thick, very thick with forage. So this is all stuff that a pig will eat. This is the field next to it. I got in here the other day and tilled it down. There was not much going on in there. There was a lot of weeds, I guess, in quotations, if there is any such thing as weed. Because in this field, you can see there's other stuff. That right there is ragweed. There's some quack grass. These things right here are amaranth, and they've gone to seed. Which some people would say, oh, you don't want that because it'll come back. Yeah, I know, I want it to come back because the pigs don't see it as weeds. They see it as feed. There's some kale. This here is a daikon. And because it was kind of choked, it didn't do very well. Okay. So we got a good thing going in here. And I've done the calculation on this before. It's 100 by 100, so it's 10,000 square feet. And there's probably 5 to 10 pounds of forage per foot. So there's a lot of forage in here. Now, it wouldn't work unless you have the best pig on the planet, and that is a Mangalitsa pig, which I happen to have. And what I'm going to do here, let me turn it around again, so you can get an idea of the lay of the land. This is the gate going into field 3, okay? This is the gate that goes into field 2, but I haven't planted that yet. I will plant that again because it's August 11th. I still have a lot of growing to do. And then this, where I'm standing, is like a transition lane, okay? So it goes over to field 1. And I'll walk over to field 1 and show you who's in there. I got some big pigs in there. So that's why I'm excited about this, is because the pigs are good size right now. They're 300 pounders. And they can make really good use of that. I mean, I'm going to feed otherwise, but my feed is going to come way, way down because they're going to have so much to eat in there. Okay, so I'm going down the transition lane, and then I get to the gate for field 1. Here it is. And behind this gate is a whole bunch of Mangalitsa pigs. There's 13 of them in here. That's what we've wound up with. This will be our crop for the fall. We will process every one of these pigs here on the farm, and then all of their products will go into the store and then be metered out throughout the winter to our customer base. All right, so if you do the calculation on this, it's pretty nice. It's pretty darn nice as far as making dollars. And we want to make dollars on our farms. So all I have to do is undo this gate right here and pull it to the side, then shut the fencer off, and take the wire down, and they will do all the movement for me. They know, they're kind of trained. They will go into field number 3. So it goes 1, 2, 3. I shut the gate for field 2. I shut the gate to get the tractor in here. That's to the outside. So they'll just go right past that and go into field 3. And once they're in there, they will run around. They will get so happy. But then what they'll do is they will come back into field 1. So once I open this, I'll leave it open. Excuse me. Oh, look at this. I don't know if you can see it. It's a kite flying over there. One of our campers is flying a kite. How nice. So they'll come back in here, because that's what they do, and they'll look around and stuff, and then they'll shoot back. And that'll go on for an hour or so. It doesn't matter to me how long they do it, but eventually I'll come in and I will shut the gate to field 3 once they're all in there. And that's it. That's the end of the movement. So the beauty of this is it doesn't require a whole lot of work on my part because of the way we built this out. And we built this out with this in mind. If I had to get these guys in a trailer and move them to another field, see you later. That's just not going to be an easy thing to do. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to shut this down because it requires both my hands to get this gate open and get the fencer off and moved. And as soon as I am able to, I will turn this back on and show you them transition on their own. And you'll be able to watch them in there doing their thing. So stand by. Okay, well that was really quick because it's literally been like a minute. And you see in field 1, no pigs, or what we would call NP, no pigs. And let me turn this around so you can see this. In the transition lane, there are no pigs. So, where are they? I will show you. They all scooted right down here. I did not feed them a lot yesterday because they had feed in their pen to clean up. And this is what they do. They'll run the perimeter, eating as they go. And watch this. They'll come back this way just to see. Just to see. Are we missing anything? If they don't, I will just close that gate. But I don't mind them eating some of this grass in here. This is good for them. So the trick here is to keep them contained. You don't want to have to chase anybody any place. Well, it looks like they're going to all stay in here. But I'm not in any big yank to close them in. And you can see how high the forage is. And this is, you know, sometimes we look at this and say, where are they? You know, but they're in here. And they're going to be lost in this forage land for quite a while. All right, and they'll be in here for probably 6 or 8 weeks. And they'll finish up in here. This is where this will be their final destination. And then this field over here, I'm going to plant this today. And then I'm going to till the one down there today as well. And get that planted because my new crop of baby pigs will come in here. And then they go through the whole process again. It takes about a year for these animals to finish out. So that's how it works. And I'm really excited about it because like there's thousands of pounds of forage in there for them. And sometimes the argument goes, well, it's not very nutritional. But with this pig, oh, see, here comes one. Got to go check things out. Got to go back. and check things out. Yeah, see them eating all that stuff. People will say things like, well, it's not very nutritional feed, that forage. Well, that's in the model where you want to just get them fat as quickly as possible. And that is not our goal. Our goal is for nutritional meat, healthy animals. You can tell these guys are as healthy as can be. So, yeah, just like I said, they're going to go back and see where they came from and see, are we missing anything? And the ones that are still in there, you can't even see them. So it's sort of like the land of chocolate for them. It's just a world of food. And that's what these animals live to do, is eat. These ones are Mangalitsa crosses. And they did really well. I got these from Isaiah Duncan like in January. They were just tiny little things. So they're really doing well. Really liking them. Big. It's going to be a good harvest on these guys for sure. See, just like I told you, now they got to go back to where they came from and check it out. And then they'll be kind of feeling like, well, there's nothing to eat over here, so we'll go back into the new field. Yep, every one of them's going to go. So with this system, I can go do something else. I don't have to wait around here for them. I can go do something else, and maybe they'll mow a lot of the grass in here for me. It's all food for them. These are 3 females, and I think they're feeling like, nope, it's better in here. After you do this for a while, you learn that there's certain patterns that they do. Certain things that they do all the time. Now, we could chase them, but it's just a lot of energy that we would waste for no good reason. Doesn't serve us. So here they come back. And I'm not of any threat to them. So they're walking right past me. They don't have a lot of contact with me. When I feed them, I'm feeding them with the front end loader, so they don't really see me, they see the machine. There's a big swallow belly right there. All right, they're all heading back in, so I'll close it off. That guy's eating that wild lettuce. Many years ago, we mixed in some large black with these animals, and you still see it show up from time to time. All right, let's all get in there. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. There's always got to be one. So they'll spend the rest of the day eating like crazy. Come on. Come on. Go ahead. You think there's something out here? There really isn't. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, get going. Get going. Go on in. All right. So now all I have to do is close this gate and put the electric up. And that is it. Hook their water up, and then I'm done. And you may kind of wonder, well, how do I do the water? I just use a micro sprinkler line, and I spray the water right out on the ground. And it gives them a mud hole that they can get in, and that's parasite control. And they also drink out of it. Like, you can give them clear water and they would prefer muddy water to drink. So this system works, and it works well. Zero medication in here, nothing. I put nothing in here. It's just water, forage, dirt. So something to note here, if that's 10,000 square feet and we got 5 pounds per square foot, but it looks more than that, probably 10, that's going to equal a lot of manure. But the manure is dropping right back very slowly, because they'll manure twice a day. And it never becomes a problem, them manuring on their food, because it drops down to the bottom, dries out a little bit, and then they go to eating. So this field with this system gets more fertile every single time. And as from a grower's point of view, I put in 10 minutes sowing this, with seed, and about a pound or 2 pounds of a mix of seed that I kind of, every time I do it, I'm inspired differently, and I'll plant something different. It's just up to what I want to do. And this mix is good. It's thick. I'm not getting the daikons, the big long daikons that I usually get, but I'm getting more pounds per acre than I would if I just planted nothing but daikons. I like planting daikons because I like to eat them too, but I like the forage factor for them. That's more important to me. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna have to shut this off because I need 2 hands to close this gate, and then get the fencer moved over here, 1 wire hooked on, and I'm done. And then I go on to the next thing. So, see ya. Remember, anyone can farm. Okay, well, I thought I'd show you. This is my last step, was I put the fencer in place. So this is a 10-mile fencer, and there's not nearly 10 miles in here, but good rule of thumb with picking a fencer, especially for pigs, is get the hottest one you can find. If you can afford, that right there is about a $200 fencer, but I've had it for 5 years now. Here's a pig that's getting ready to touch the fence with her tail. So we'll see what happens. Ooh, she's getting close. Maybe. No, she moved off. Okay, so let's watch them a minute, and I'll explain some things to you. What's keeping them in is not this wire gate. That's the secondary. The primary is this electric fence that goes all the way around the inside. And you may be asking me, well, isn't this vegetation touching the fence? It certainly is. And so what we will see is these pigs will eat everything that's away from the fence before they venture into the stuff that's close to the fence. And when they get into the stuff that's close to the fence, right here I've pulled it all out so I could see what's going on. But what they'll do is they'll eat everything that's far away from it first. And then when it gets sparse in here, which that's going to be a month, they'll start being very careful about how they eat around the fence, and they clear the fence line for me, which is really nice. So here it is, August, so we get September, November 1st for our Hog Harvest class, which if you haven't been to one, you're missing it. So we come out here, 12 people in the class, generally. That's a good maximum. If we really want to, we can go 14. But we'll come out here with the loader and a 22, shoot a pig, pick it up, bleed it out, then take it back to the shop. And then the students do the process on it with my, I'm looking over their shoulder, of course. And that goes really well. So we have 2 of them dedicated to the class. We do 2 in a class, and I usually do pretty big ones. And then the rest of them will meter them out to people who have said, hey, I want a Mangalitsa pig, or I want a half, or I want a bundle, or whatever it is that they want. But all this will get sold. So the way you look at this is it's a crop. It's another crop. So I just got done harvesting all the hay off of the place, with the exception of about 10 acres that a guy I know is going to put it in square bales. I usually do round bales for my cows, but I have enough for my cows. So the squares, he's an expert. He'll make real nice square bales. I can put them in the barn, and then we sell them, right? You get better money for a square bale than you do for a round bale, because people think that they can't handle a round bale. Whatever. And so we sell them for more than what we would sell a round bale, but I don't sell any round bales. And the thinking here is you want every process that you do to be a crop, and you start harvesting it at this time and you finished harvesting it at this time. And if you plan things right, we will be done processing all these pigs. They will all be in the freezer by the time, and then the next day, or in a couple of days, we may take a break. We might not. We might even have a little bit of overlap, and then we start processing beef. And that's a taller order, but the reason that works is because, okay, so November 1st, generally, it's cool enough here where we're getting it down to 30 at night. These guys will cool down. Their carcasses will cool down at 30 degrees, or lower, or a little higher. They will cool down overnight. So if we kill them one day, we get them scalded and scraped, split in half, hung. The next day, we can finish cutting them up and packaging them, and then in the freezer they go, right? So as soon as these guys are done, then we start on beef. I'm getting ready for chickens to be done. You know, we've already got in most of our chickens. We have about another 400 to do. When they are done, then we do turkeys, and when turkey's finished, it should be November 1st. It should be. That's the plan, right? And you want everything stacked up like this. If we were going to do, say, 400 pigs, well, I'd have to hire in a bunch of help to do it, and then we'd get it all done. But you don't want to be harvesting pigs all year long. And if you are going to work your homestead seasonally, which I totally recommend, you're not paying for the electricity that you would need to run coolers and freezers and all that. Plus, you need a fly-free environment. You can't knock a pig down, hang it up in August, because flies are an issue. July, flies are an issue. Even September, flies are an issue. So it's not as big an issue with chickens, because chickens are processed. Then they go in water, right? A cooling bucket or tank. And then they come out of there. That carcass is cooled down to the temperature of our well water, which is probably 48. And then from there, they go into the cooler. The cooler's got to run for probably 12 hours, bring them down to 38 or 35. Depends what the cooler's doing. And then from there, they go in the freezer. You know, you definitely don't want to put a warm bird in the freezer, because the interior of that bird will get super warm, because the warmth in the bird will migrate to the center of the bird, because it tries to protect that heat, and then you can have bad things happen on the inside of the bird. So you want to, it's a gradual cool down process. it really is gradual, even though you want to get it down to a temperature where bacteria slows to the point where it's not an issue. But you can't do that by just sticking them in the freezer. And you may be saying, well, if you process in the wintertime, it's, you know, it can be 20 degrees. Yeah, but 20 and 0 is a big, it's a big gap, and you're going to have a slower cool down. So this operation is complete except for the water, and I can stand here and just feel real good watching these guys eat and be very happy. You see the tails going. There's no anxiety. They're not screaming at me for food. They never really do, because they're always in feed all the time. This went really smooth, usually does. There has been times when it didn't. You'll notice that in this field we have shelters. Not real necessary with the king of pigs, the Mangal. Okay, cut off there for a minute, but I got to put in a plug for the Mangalitsa. The Mangalitsa pig is probably the best homestead pig that we have here in the United States, because they do really well on forage. I haven't seen another pig that does as well on forage. Like, they are going to gain weight off of that field. And that field, I have very little invested in that. I built this field, it's probably 10 years ago. I built this complex here 10 years ago. And so there's a little maintenance that goes into it, but not a whole lot. And so it's paid for. The fences are all paid for. The posts are paid for. The labor is paid for, because I did the labor myself. And so when everything is said and done, there's not a lot of, I don't have a lot into them, right? They were born, generally they are born here. These ones were born on Isaiah's place. And I did some swapping with them for some windows. I got a good deal. He got a good deal. And the pigs that I had that I was going to feed out, I sold them, because they were not these crosses. They were the pure, if that's a reality, but they looked like more like a Mangalitsa. They were red, and people really like that. So you can go that direction too if you're new to pigs and you don't really want to get into breeding right away, which we totally recommend, because you go from 2 pigs to sometimes 10 in a hurry, and you don't have the facilities to gather up the little ones. You don't know how to castrate yet. You don't have a market for them yet. So we kind of recommend, get feeders for a year or so. Get used to pigs. Get used to the upside and the downside. Get your feed system down, which there's a lot to that. And I talk about pigs a lot, because they are a part of the puzzle on the homestead. The homestead really is a puzzle. Pigs are here because they fit here. They make short work of, when we do chicken processing, which we do right now twice a week, you get a lot of heads, feet, and guts. Now that's all legit feed for a pig. You don't have to cook that. You just dump it in and it's gone in 10 minutes. I mean, gone. So there's no smell, there's no problems with it. We're not composting guts and heads and feet, because if you do that, you wind up with them torn out of the compost pile, because animals smell that, it stinks. Animals smell it, and raccoons and possums and stuff, they'll come and take it and pull the compost pile apart. If I put just feathers in the compost pile, they don't care about that. Occasionally, a head or a foot will slip in there, and sure enough, some animal will come and dig it out and take it. So I don't really care about that, but I just don't want, 25 raccoons coming every night to raid our pile. And I'm not sure if it's raccoons, I'm not sure what it is, but it could just be cats for all I know. But they don't destroy the pile. Yeah, that fence is working. That's a good sound. So this operation is complete. I can go on to my next thing. I know that these guys are fed. Even if I didn't dump feed to them, they are good to go for about 3 to 4 weeks in here. They will just eat forage. And is their gain on forage the same as it would be on grain? No, it isn't. But do I want a fast gain? I really don't. I don't want them to be putting on, because if they get just high calorie feed, they're going to put it on in fat. And although, you know, we love the fat that the Mangalitsa makes, there comes a point when it can be too much fat, because our market hasn't quite discovered, you know, the fat mystique at this point. Fat we need, you know, the powers that be will tell you, oh, you want low fat stuff. No, actually you want high fat stuff, because it provides all the lubrication for your joints, and a lot of the human body is made up of fat. And the pig, believe it or not, is very compatible with the human body. Now, I know you see stuff about it not being. If it's raised correctly, it's going to be cleaner. And when you see a chop from one of these pigs, the meat is red. So sometimes it hits the plate, and if you don't know what you're looking at, you'll say, oh, that is steak. We've actually had people come here and have, you know, Mangalitsa with us, and they'll thought, oh, that was good steak. What kind of beef was that? I said, that wasn't beef, that was pig. And they'll, no, it wasn't. Oh yeah, it was. It's you know, for the untrained palate, it's hard to know. It's outstanding pork, and the beauty of the Mangalitsa again is they can turn just forages like that, which I have very little into high quality, the highest quality pork and fat. Okay, so it's great for the homestead, because if you have a bunch of pigs that ouch, I just got stung. A bunch of pigs that require you know, grain, they won't do anything else. They won't eat forages, or they won't eat them with the zest that these guys are eating them. Your bill at the end of the month for feed is going to be high. And so that kind of takes the fun out of it when you're writing big fat checks. So I'm watching these guys now, and they're congregating at the gate, and they're thinking, well, we better go check our old field. But they're sniffing the fence, and they're saying no, the electric fence. So they kind of know the routine after a while. These guys have been here since January, and they were probably 3 months old when they came. So they've gained the weight that we need. They're going to be 350 to 375 when we process them. Don't fall into this, oh, well, they have to be a certain weight. Don't fall into that. That's not true. A heavy pig is just going to yield bigger chops and more fat. A smaller pig, smaller chops and less fat. As far as taste goes, we think that the 1-year-old ones and even beyond is good. There's a lot of talk out there, oh, Mangalitsa's grow slow. No, they don't. Not if you handle them right. They grow just fine. Especially fits in with almost perfectly with the model of seasonal harvest. Seasonal harvest. So these pigs were born late last fall, and so they're right at a year now. They're right at a year, and they're plenty heavy. They're going to make real nice pork. And where we're doing the process ourselves, we can break them down into the cuts that people want. And then everything else goes into breakfast sausage. And that people like that too. So it sells really well. It's a good thing. I highly recommend Mangalitsa pigs. And I sell Mangalitsa pigs. So that's kind of a shameless plug.
Look at you, big guy.